Thank you. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Bridge helping you this morning?
There were, it confuses me. I mean, there were long lines on this side of the bridge, certainly, way up past Ray Hill.
Oh, wow.
Um, and Lord knows how far up 151, the other way. And I waited on the other side for quite a while for a long line to
Yeah.
go. So they must have been doing something.
Yeah. It'll be nice when it's done.
Then I got behind two bicyclists on Clark Hill.
Oh, you're kidding. Who wouldn't move over?
Well, it was coming down on the curves, so
Yeah.
even if they had moved over,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to pass. So.
Yeah, yeah.
One of those mornings.
Yes, indeed. Well, I had a long email yesterday from Jeff.
Ah.
He's sold, closed, and moved. But the only room in the house that he could do class in is the living room, and he said it is filled with big boxes.
Yeah.
So he is not, unless suddenly he appears, but he indicated he would not be joining us today. So
I figured that might be the case when I saw the chair over here.
yeah. So that's I'm glad he's got his move done.
Yes. Yeah.
Because he is trying to work during this whole time too.
Yeah.
Do you know what he does?
No.
He writes racehorse evaluations that are put out for people who want to bet on races.
Huh.
And apparently he must be pretty good at it because, gosh, I would say he's been doing it for at least 10 years.
Wow.
And it's a small company, I think just he and his boss, as far as I know. At least that's what it was for many years. Unusual occupation.
Yeah. I wonder. Well, I don't know. I mean, just offhand, I wonder how he does he get the information or does he know the information?
No, he gets the information
okay.
online. Which means I assume that he watches a lot of races and there's other information available, of course, but interesting.
Yeah.
It's he wants to work somewhere encouraging vegetarianism, but he has not been able to get a job in that field, so he's remained.
Yeah, I see by his shirts every once in a while that that's his bent, you know.
Yeah. Well, if you friend him on Facebook, his Facebook.
I don't have Facebook.
Oh, you don't need Facebook. It's fine.
No, I made a decision a long time ago. I don't do any social media. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So.
Well, with our kids, we
Yeah.
that kind of got us.
I have friends who prefer not to have it, but they have kids and grandkids. You know,
Yeah.
so.
So that I do not spend much time, but now and then. So I don't know how much you were aware that I was apparently not feeling well last week. It turned out, I didn't find out until Wednesday, but I was going into heart failure.
Into what?
Heart failure.
Oh dear.
Again. I've had one occasion 3 or 4 years ago when that occurred, and I was in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. But apparently I was gathering liquid water into my lungs, and so they increased my LASIK, and I dropped 7 pounds in 3 days. And I'm feeling pretty good now. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I'm 90. So I just want to, in case I was weird last week.
No. I mean, obviously, your eyesight is not. Neither is mine. Yeah. Of course, I got my hearing and all my problems,
Sure.
but I didn't really notice anything significant.
You know, it wasn't until the afternoon class with seniors there was clearly something going on. And I did my Wednesday class. I didn't have to move around much for that one. I was, well, you know, because you were there.
Yeah.
But then.
It was a bit shorter than usual, so
yeah.
I figured, well.
Well, sometimes it is.
Yeah. You build in expectations, and nobody asks a question. So
it's interesting that class. Sometimes we have a lot of discussion, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Anyway, that's not a big deal. I just wanted to, if you had felt I was off.
No, it wasn't obvious in the morning.
No. Okay.
So.
Well, that's good. I was hiding it well, I guess. So, do you arrive with any questions or thoughts or reports?
Well, the work I did was on the form was mostly trying to pay attention to where my weight was anchored, because that's what we worked on, and
Yeah.
that probably needs review.
Okay.
Not probably, that needs review.
Okay.
Because I think I've been tending in the wrong direction for quite a while, so it's built in some bad habits of leaning and, you know,
Yeah.
which you've mentioned, but I haven't understood why, probably.
I must not have been clear enough.
Well, yeah, you've talked about my leaning and, you know,
Yeah.
the back and forth, and I didn't associate it with, weight distribution on my legs, but, you know, when I started to pay attention to that, I found myself continually, whoops, stay there, yeah.
Yeah. It's interestingly enough, the phrase that I think Bruce uses is more often not just shifting your weight, but sitting on a leg. Because that is what you're doing. You're trying to get your dantian to move your weight over that leg, or in whatever direction you're going.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a good way of stating it, because it also includes keeping the back vertical, which means you're not leaning.
Right.
So yeah, it's and at our age, although I'm older than you are, it becomes more of an issue.
Yeah. I am going to do physical therapy for balance starting next week.
Oh.
I am having more and more issues that way. You know, turns, weight shifts. You know, when I turn too suddenly or whatever, I get unsteady. And I've taken a few gentle falls. Yeah, nothing that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's time to do something about it formally.
You know, one of the things, well, I fell twice last year. I haven't had any problem in about a year now, but one of the things that I made myself start doing is not just turning my body when I'm standing. If I want to turn, I step around.
Shift your feet. Yeah.
Shift your feet.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn that. I'm sure. But in preparation for this, the PT people send a whole batch of paperwork, and it included what looked like what I'm going to be doing when I show up for the first session, but you know, there it was for me to do also in terms of standing with my feet together, closing my eyes with my feet together, folding my arms, etc., standing on one foot. The standing on one foot I'm terrible at. Usually have been, for years, but
yeah.
But it's occurred to me that what you said, I'm going to have to move my feet or find a different way to turn around, because that's pretty consistently a problem.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that, I mean, that obviously is involved a little bit here, but the form moves so slowly that I have time to
Yeah.
adjust and, you know, have it not be a particular issue in the form.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're constantly stepping, so
yes.
we, but yeah, that made a real difference for me. And I have to say, I know that part of my issue was my son's suicide. Just put me in another place.
Yeah, yeah. That's,
yeah. We don't need to go there.
yeah,
was
I
just
know, but that's an obvious, to anybody who thinks at all, you know, that's, you know, situation, you know.
Yeah.
My best friend lost his 55-year-old son, to brain cancer,
Mhm.
2 years ago, and it has affected him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't,
And not,
it's
Yep.
not supposed to happen that way, you know.
no. Supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah.
So,
Sorry.
What-
That started developing trigger finger
ah,
on both hands,
huh.
about a month and a half ago. I woke up in the morning and they were sort of gently locked, but locked like that, and I have to
Ah,
go like that, and every once in a while I guess I went like that and they didn't release completely, so I
absolutely.
Well,
Why not?
You're old enough to understand.
Yes, I am.
This goes wrong and that goes wrong.
Ain't it true? So, well, we could just start in with the form a little bit and
Okay.
just play with it.
Okay.
Um, see if I can help you refine.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how typical that my experience is, but as we've added things and polished other things and focused here, some of the things like weight distribution,
Yeah.
Tilts in the wrong direction, or it just goes away completely, and always needs reminding. So I'm always happy when we go back to ground zero.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say, you never took one of Rick Barrett's workshops, did you?
You which?
Rick Barrett,
Oh, sure.
did you? So, his work with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
finger,
Yeah.
not thinking about the finger, but extending your finger into the earth or elsewhere,
Yeah.
is really effective.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever I start a form, you'll see me,
Yes.
you see my finger.
Yeah.
And it's just part of now, part of how I connect downward.
Yeah.
And make sure I'm. And the more you can get out of your head, the better it is too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in addition to the workshops, I mean, we worked. I mean, he did therapy with me, and
Oh, we did.
For
Oh,
2 years, 2.5 years. something
Really?
like that. Yeah.
oh, I didn't know
The
that.
craniosacral.
Yeah.
and we would sit and talk first, and go through some of the. I remember him saying, "Put your hand on your knee, and you feel the energy, going there." And we, what was that? Oh, press upward with your thumb without physically pressing.
Uh-huh.
Feel the energy moving up from your thumb into your wrist, now from your wrist down into the thumb, and back and forth without physically doing anything of that sort.
Yeah. Oh,
so
good.
we did a whole lot of
Wow,
those kinds of
I didn't know you
energy.
had that connection with him.
Yeah, I was very sorry that he obviously had to abandon the Killingworth thing because of the COVID. And I can't drive to Staten Island.
You can?
I could.
I can't. I have in the past. Actually, I took the train, but
so yes, that and he. I don't know what it would have been called, but some sort of manipulation that was not chiropractic, but in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought I was going to lose an arm or a leg, from time to time as he bent and
Yep.
tied me into a pretzel,
Yep.
But I can remember leaving the house or the shed wherever he was working, and walking down to my car and feeling,
Yeah.
very light, and I actually a couple of times had to watch my footing, because
You were floating.
I was floating, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
He's very good. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the first two movements.
Okay.
The first two, grasping the sparrow's tail.
Yeah.
And probably a good idea, yeah. It just, there's a lot of basic movement in there in those two sections.
My lumbar sacral area releases in waves.
Uh-huh.
When I stand and I drop my weight,
That's great.
that's one thing, and then I wait, and then I say, no, it needs to go farther, and then another segment until it's, feeling relatively comfortable,
Well, that's good.
which I've always had a back, and always will. But,
There's no rush.
Yeah. So, I probably will want to talk if that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
One of the things I noticed that I did was spiraling down also included
Yep.
this.
Yep, it was. Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure yet how to overcome that, but now.
That was 100% better.
Okay,
Because you moved from here.
yeah,
You didn't move from here.
yeah,
And it sounds to me like giving yourself time to release your back is really important.
Yeah.
Because if it's not released, then it's really hard to focus to this area.
yeah. Well, this has always been tied up, yeah.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
some
And you
summer,
wanted-
it's worse because I'm outside landscaping and,
Yeah.
gardening and,
But you want it all tied together.
yeah.
And if it's stiff and tight, then that causes separation.
Part of it's also the way I receive information,
Mhm.
So spiraling down and turning gets translated in my head into, that's an exaggeration, but,
Yeah.
Too much turning and too much dropping and tilting,
Yeah, so you have to really pay attention to what's appropriate for you and not feel pressured to do anything else. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, there are people who can turn 90 degrees when doing that.
Mm.
I can't do that anymore, and I don't think you should be doing it either. Yeah.
So I'm already moving off this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should be.
And that's, I've been working on that, but it's coming slowly.
All right. So, this movement from here, you're just going to your base level is what you're trying to find.
Mhm.
How do I let particularly the qua,
Yep,
and one is opening and one is closing,
yep,
and you sit into that leg, and by turning, that allows you to have some turn to place that foot. So it's not sink down step,
right.
which is what happened to you the last time, not the time before, but this last time.
Yep.
So it's that old principle for Wu Yu Xiang's classic. If one part is still, all parts must be still. So it's finding, how do I drop into that leg, turn a little to step, and then keep turning. Boom. To that point.
Start over.
Yeah, that's fine. So the right grasping sparrow's tail was better than the left. So, you want to feel that the movement of the dantian and the qua are causing the arms to move, so that there is never a movement of the arms alone. There has to be something else happening. And when it is on, that movement is coming out of the back, but it's coming from here. It's energetically, it's coming from here. Movement-wise, it is the scapula separating that's causing that final movement. As you go into to here, notice that by the time I put that foot out, that my arms have not gone very far.
Okay. Yeah,
Yours are often all the way up here. So that this movement causes the rise and expansion to G. So that rotation and shift is very subtle and not very far, and which is one of the reasons why it needs to be an empty step. But at that point, it is just, you get to G, and then, I don't mean G, pung and on, of G.
Yeah,
I'll say it right, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Pung and G. So maybe one of the things is to slow that down a little bit as you practice, so that you have the time to find, how did I do that?
Yeah. Well, I can. Yeah. My hands are at pung before I even.
Yeah. Yeah.
And G is finished before.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm still over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's this is, to my mind, this is significantly more difficult than the Yang style. And I mean, there's a lot in the Yang style too, but and it can get much more subtle, of course, than the beginning levels of it. But this is smaller movements coming much more quickly.
It seems, everything seems more sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's better.
Yeah, but I'm 50-50 already.
Well, that's all right. 50-50 is all right because you still have 10% to do G.
Okay.
Good. That was much better, and also just I note that you were not dropping back as you were earlier. You managed to
Do something about that, yes.
Yeah. No, Um, what's your feeling about what you're doing? Are you,
That one felt the most coordinated.
yeah. And it was the most whole body movement.
Mm.
It began to really work.
Yeah.
So that was good. Why don't you do it again and go on to single whip?
Okay.
That wasn't bad because you definitely improved that over what you were doing. My feeling is you have a tendency through everything to let the hands get a little too close together in the center. You really want to. We're consistently trying to get this Laogong point in the palm
Okay.
to line up with the side channel,
Okay.
because that makes
Yeah,
a real
yeah, no,
difference
I'm aware that
energetically.
I'm carrying a very small ball.
Yeah, let the ball be a little bigger. And that was really that really felt good to me there, because I could see the coming in and the going out and the expansion to this point. So that's really improved.
Okay.
Definitely improved.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been.
Do you have a question in there?
No, it's. I had been. How long have we been at this? 2 years? 2.5?
Something like that.
But it's been primarily physical positions rather than movement. I think that's driven my practice.
Yeah.
Make sure you get to here, make sure you get to there, and so this is different. This is, keeping the motion continual. Well, what you said,
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
body in continual, don't stop ever. But that's not what I've been doing for 2.5 years. So it comes and it goes as I practice,
yeah.
and fortunately, I do recognize, that's what it must be like.
Yeah,
when
good.
When I
Good.
do it right. I'm
Yeah.
intending to, but there's, as we've talked, there's a lot going on all the time, and my brain tends to be overactive, so,
Aha.
in terms of monitoring this,
The good old brain gets in the way syndrome. We all have trouble with that from time to time. Where are we? Oh, we're fine. I think I can't read my own clock. Well, why don't you again start at the beginning and just go up through pull down. Or embrace. You could go on through your embrace, yeah. So you keep working on getting the hands to
Mm-hmm.
move. That'll be something to work on this week. Um, so here, this is another place. Well, let me say first. This time you kind of went back in the single whip. One of the things about single whip is I'm not quite sure what you're doing on this side, but it's more just an expansion.
Okay.
So you're not actually pushing away. You are. You're deflecting away, and then this need. I'm thinking maybe you need to drop the elbows a little, so that the hands come up and out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's better.
Yeah.
Do you understand what you're doing there?
Yes. I'm on the same horizontal.
Pretty much. But I was thinking that as you go into that movement, you're coming up between someone's arms and spreading them out.
Okay. Over here has, I think I remember originally that my,
Yes,
hands were up here and
yeah.
out.
No, you conquered that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So.
It's definitely improved. I'm just trying to help.
Is the turn, am I turning too much? Is actually the question.
Well, maybe I need to see you do it again to answer that.
I'm used to doing that.
Yeah.
Is this, I'm not sure.
So, it's here. Doesn't have to be here. Here is fine. And where that turn is, if you have your feet in whatever that position is for you, and just let your quad
open a little bit.
Well,
this one closes.
This one's open. This one closes.
Yeah.
But focus on that determines how far you can turn. And it
okay. Yes, I'm twisting.
Yeah. Because you want to keep the shoulders aligned with the quad points. You want to maintain the 4 points.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do this, which
am probably
a little bit.
Not
always. As bad as you were.
Oh, okay.
This form, even more than the Yang style, the hands do not cross the center line of the body. Only in cloud hands they come to the center.
Yep.
But they don't cross the center.
So I have been up here with this motion in your.
It's just a rotation.
It's just
You're
a rotation.
In, out, in.
Okay. Well,
out.
that would automatically lead me to.
Yeah.
Go like that into single whip.
Yeah.
Because if I'm up here, what's happening is that I'm just bringing it over, and there's.
And you're doing that exactly instead of this.
Yeah.
So this is, it's that zoop. It's not bloop.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
the key piece in there, I think you're right on that.
Yeah. Probably occasionally it would do me some good to think about martial applications, which I tend not to, you know.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm all about.
No,
But
me either
that's
now.
the explanation
Yeah,
for this. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And then having gotten to here, we do have a continuation of just sitting on that leg, so that you can do that rotation and step back and then pull down, and your weight should be 60% on this leg at that point. So that you just rotate on the left heel, the weight changes very little, and then in embrace, you shift back. Yeah, and the arms expand out a little and rotate this way a little. Boom.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
No, I was.
Yeah. Well, they are doing this, but they are doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an example of my turning. I just lost my balance.
Yes, I noticed.
You know, I was going like this, but I don't know what happens. You know,
You get our body loses flexibility.
Flexibility, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's related to that movement of the quad. That's why, even going back to Master Joe's basic exercise, just doing that quad.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it just releases that area.
Yeah,
your PT will probably give you some good ideas.
Yeah.
He may use different terminology, but he'll probably talk about some of the same things.
Yeah. Interestingly, I had a regular appointment with my ear, nose, throat guy, and I mentioned balance because I've always had ear infections. I've had them 3 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so there's an issue with my eustachian tube. Yeah. And he said, "Do you walk?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "How far?" And I said, 7,000 steps a day. And he said, "Oh, well, that's wonderful. Where?" And I said, "Well, if I'm working out in the yard, that's mostly my walking. But if I don't work in the yard, then I walk down the road." He said, "Where do you look when you're walking?" I said, "Well, lately I'm paying really close attention to where my feet are going."
Yeah.
Because we're having this conversation because I trip, you know, if I don't. And he said, "So you're locked in this way?" And I said, "Yep." He said, "Well, that's a problem because you're not exercising your sense of balance. You're blocking it from doing anything."
Yep.
By so rigidly focusing. So he said, "You need to do whatever you can to look around and let your system work." And then I started using hiking poles.
Oh, good.
Which allows me some confidence.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
To look around and not, run the risk of tripping over a rock this big.
Yeah. Well, they can do it if it's the
right
size and shape.
Yes, and I'm not expecting it there, so.
Yeah. No.
I've always been fairly agile and, used to clambering around outside, and this is, along with a lot of other things, this is, life learning here.
Yeah.
What I can and cannot any longer do, so.
Yeah, we're all there.
Yeah.
So you want to try that again?
Yeah.
so that's coming. You know, I lost the arm movement there in single whip back again, but I think that's a matter of practice. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think you
I
have.
think I understand what to do better now.
Yeah.
So.
Have I filled you too full or?
No, no,
Okay.
yeah.
No, sometimes, sometimes you can get too much
Yeah,
information.
but this is, I mean, it's along the lines of what I've been working on anyway, but refinements on that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it's not 8 completely new things, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I see what you mean about the right sparrow's tail being better than the left. I felt it. Again, I'm not sure how that happens because actually one of the things is I'm paying less, well, I probably am paying less attention to the right side once I get finished with the left, and it just goes more smoothly somehow, I think.
Yeah, the one thing that you want to keep working on in all of this
Mhm.
is not having places where you suddenly speed up.
Okay.
So this time, and this is not what you've done previously,
Mhm.
but just um, since we're talking about that, you got to here and it was
Oh.
like, whip!
Okay.
I got to get here. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but and when you're going into
Yeah.
do it right, David. When you're going in to pull down, you touch, step, and as much as you can make that an empty step,
Okay.
rather than landing on it, because that gives you more space to expand out and rotate. See, the palms are going down and out during this, in an arc, but they're going down.
Okay. I think I'm stepping closer.
You're stepping closer, and I think you're stepping more,
Yes.
which narrows your,
Okay.
and it's not so much a problem here,
Yeah, but I
but it
have no place to
becomes
go.
a
Yeah.
problem here,
Yeah.
because I'm not seeing embrace really happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you do it once more and go on through White Goose, and we'll.
the embrace was better. I think again, if you can let that step be a little more to the side, it'll just give you a little more space there. Remember that after you do embrace, that the first part of that movement is just sitting on this leg.
Okay.
And then rotate in, step, and rotate into shoulder. Now, notice that I am not even at my dynamic limit yet. I'm at about 50-50. You mentioned that kind of a distribution.
Yeah.
You don't want to be here, because when you do, you haven't got anywhere to go for this. And there should be some forward movement in that.
Okay, yeah, I've been, that sequence right there has been problematic, you know.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, but you made big improvement here about getting on. You can see more of that coming from your back. The same thing is happening here.
Yeah.
This is coming from your back. It's ending up in on. It's the same.
Same, yeah.
Your hands aren't here. They happen to be here. But it's the same thing. It's just that you go into shoulder, and now you've got a whole lot to happen, because you've got to deflect, strike, and push down, and while you are rotating, no pause in the rotation in that.
Yeah, I think the deflect, those first three movements before the on are still hands for me.
Yeah. Yes, they were. You're absolutely right. So it's.
And when you talked about it, I was pretty sure that when I got to on, I was
well,
with the shoulders, but I think the part before that is
you were when you got to this
yes,
on.
Yeah.
But not this on.
Right.
So that's a tough section in that you have Liu, Ji, on. A whole lot going in there. And then you've got to go to Liu and on again. So it's just a huge amount going on in a very compressed space. But believe me, just today you've made huge progress. Practice, practice, practice. Do you have other questions though in here in this section?
No. I mean, I like this sort of class. Obviously you can't do it, with, two or more people.
Well, we can. We can. We just have to go back and forth. I can't do it all one person.
Yeah.
But this is certainly, I think, the kind of work that will be helpful to you, it seems to me. So we'll try to keep including some of this.
Okay. Yeah, I find this very valuable, and the no-brainer is that it's practice. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Even if you just do that much.
And that's basically what happened. It wasn't a whole lot of practice, but I did get, I think every day, at least, you know, through this much. I didn't even go to wave hands, so,
Yeah.
you know, so.
It's, you know, it is practice.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, there's,
Yeah, and I understand, you know, that everybody has demands in their life too. We're not 100% martial artists, able to devote our lives to.
yeah.
I mean, I'm closer to that probably than you are,
Yeah,
but.
oh, yes, yeah.
But still, so,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Probably a little shorter than,
That's fine.
But it
was-
seems to me
it was
that-
fully packed, so.
yeah, I was gonna say, I really feel like I don't wanna go further at the
Yeah.
moment, because if you can get that much,
Much in practice.
it will
yeah.
improve everything else.
Yeah,
Cause it's all the same
you
thing.
know, I am gradually beginning to see the connections among everything that we do, whether it's 8 gates to this
Mhm.
or anything, the dynamic sphere, you know, the
It's
blah,
all-
blah, blah,
yeah, they're all
blah,
connected,
yeah,
no question.
yeah.
Well, good. Well, I did record today,
Mm.
so we'll have that. Zoom in its wisdom, as I think I mentioned last Wednesday,
Yeah.
had updated, and I couldn't. Oh, and I've been to. Well, I'll say it tomorrow in class, but I haven't been able to convert that video, as
Okay,
you probably saw
and
that.
I got your email, and you know, you don't wanna hear anything I have to say at that level, you know, so,
That-
you know, of computer,
No, it's no problem. But if anybody wants a DVD of that class, I can do that.
It was not completely new territory anyway,
No,
so.
No, it
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
I discovered that, you know, they changed all the things at the bottom. And I had to go into, and I just figured this out myself, but it took me, I think, 4 days. I had to go into what they now call host tools,
Mm.
select record, which opened up when you went to where you actually trigger the recording.
Yeah.
It opened up 3 choices that
Oh,
didn't
drop-down
exist
box, yeah.
until you did that.
Yeah. Um,
That kind of thing drives me crazy.
yeah. It's, at some point in my life, when I was still teaching and we began to tilt over into online learning, we didn't have anybody dedicated to making websites, so I made my own for a course. And it was successful, and it took me forever and ever. And what I had to do was to learn to slow down and think like a computer. You know, you add 1 and 1, then you get 2. Then if you want to add another one, you do that. But you can't go from 1 to 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is what I wanted to do. You know,
Yeah,
just
of course.
Little by little by little. So, you know, you hit record and then the box comes
Yeah.
up. Why couldn't it be there originally?
Right. Drives me crazy. Zoom loves to update.
Yeah.
Well,
have a good 24 hours till I
Okay.
see you again.
Yeah,
Good. Take care, Bill.
Yeah, you
Good
too.
class.
yeah,
Good class. Good work.
thank you.